Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the veil of reality, that fragile boundary separating the tangible from the incomprehensible? Perhaps, deep down, you feel there is something more, a hidden secret that few dare to explore. Well, I'm about to reveal something to you. Hastur, the King in Yellow, is not just a literary myth, he is the key to a universe of mysteries that defy logic. Does it sound impossible? Wait until you discover how esotericism, pacts, and invocations connect to unravel the darkest secrets of the supernatural. Brace yourself, for your journey begins now. The origin of Hastur is a fascinating labyrinth, starting with Ambrose Bierce, a 19th-century writer, who mentioned it as an enigmatic name in his stories. But it was Robert W. Chambers, in his collection The King in Yellow, who gave life to the concept of Hastur as something far beyond a literary entity. Chambers intertwined esotericism and occultism in his narratives, linking Hastur to ideas of pacts and rituals that promised power, but always at a price. His influence spread, embedding the mystery of the supernatural into popular culture. As Hastur evolved in the writings of H.P. Lovecraft and other authors of the Cthulhu mythos, it acquired a unique symbolism. Its presence transcends reality, representing a force of decay and despair. Think of the entity as a metaphor for human choices. Those who seek the forbidden, whether through pacts or rituals, always pay a price. An example? The relentless pursuit of wealth or power, which often leads us to lose sight of who we really are. Here, Hastur emerges as a dark warning. But what makes Hastur so unique? He is not an ordinary villain, he is an idea, a force that consumes logic and the sense of reality. For many, invoking him is not a physical act, but a symbolic one, opening doors to forbidden truths and confronting the purest form of gnosis. This knowledge is, at times, as devastating as a demon whispering in the ear of its victim. Is it possible to avoid this? Yes, but one must understand that not all secrets are meant to be uncovered. In various esoteric traditions, the idea of cosmic forces like Hastur represents the imbalance in the universe. Imagine someone trying to control destiny through occult rituals, believing they can bend reality to their will. More often than not, this person ends up being bent by forces beyond their comprehension. Historical examples include alchemists and medieval magicians who mysteriously disappeared in their insatiable quests. This is the power of Hastur in action, silent, relentless, and inevitable. It is curious how Hastur continues to resonate in modern culture. Have you ever noticed how certain psychological horror stories seem to explore the same themes of decay and loss of identity? Films like The Thing or Hereditary evoke this atmosphere of existential despair. While the creators may not admit it, the spirit of Hastur is there, permeating the narrative. This proves that his influence is timeless, adaptable, and deeply rooted in our collective psyche. When we dive into the universe of Hastur, we are not merely exploring ancient myths, we are questioning the very foundations of our perception. Why are some truths so devastating? Perhaps because they challenge our notions of control and safety. If you've read The King in Yellow, you may have felt that chill, as if something were watching behind the words. That is Hastur's mark, he makes us question what we believe to be solid and real. Following the thread of Hastur, we realize that he is more than an abstract concept, he is a dark mirror reflecting our own fears and desires. While some view him as a threat, others see him as an opportunity for transcendence. But beware, what seems liberating may imprison. And so, the cycle begins, leading us to the next topic, where we explore an artifact that personifies this duality, the cursed King in Yellow. What makes the King in Yellow so dangerous? This mysterious play is not just literature, it is an invitation to madness. Divided into two acts, the work seems harmless at first glance, but the second act is where chaos resides. Those who read it report a profound and irreversible transformation, a disconnection from reality. Imagine finding a dusty book that promises to reveal the secrets of the universe. Would you open it? That is the essence of the pact proposed by the play. But beware, the cost is sanity, for the esotericism contained within it transcends human understanding. In its structure, The King in Yellow reflects the duality of Gnosticism. The first act offers knowledge, the second, destruction. Some say that upon reaching the final page, the reader no longer recognizes themselves. It's as if invisible entities lurk between the lines, ready to connect with the vulnerable mind. This is the true ritual of the play, not a physical act, but a mental invocation. For those who wish to venture, a warning: not all that is revealed brings light. The supernatural is always ready to claim its part of the pact. The play also explores universal themes, such as the desire to reach beyond ordinary existence. This echoes stories of people who devoted themselves to cults or forbidden rituals, seeking answers in forces they barely understood. Imagine an artist obsessed with creating the perfect work, only to realize that their inspiration came from a demon whispering in their mind. This parallel with The King in Yellow is disturbingly real. How many times has the desire to push boundaries led us to a point of no return? There are both fictional and real accounts of readers who, after immersing themselves in the play, began to question everything, from the solidity of their memories to their very perception of time and space. It's as if an invisible layer of reality is peeled away, exposing the underlying chaos. In occultism, this is called unveiling, a moment when the truth becomes unbearable. It is a grim reminder that not all knowledge is liberating. The play transforms each reader into part of Hastur's cult, even if unconsciously. Curiously, The King in Yellow also challenges the notion of identity. Characters who read it often lose their sense of self, as if the text erases their souls. This reflects the essence of many occult pacts: to gain something, you must lose something. In the play, what is lost is sanity, the certainty of being human. Imagine a scientist obsessed with answers, who sacrifices everything, even family, to achieve their goal. This is the kind of disintegration represented by the play. The influence of the play goes beyond literature. It symbolizes the psychological impact that forbidden ideas can have. In the modern world, think of philosophical movements that break the boundaries of traditional morality, leaving their followers lost in existential emptiness. Reading The King in Yellow is like opening a door to that same abyss. Many claim that, even without fully understanding its meaning, the play leaves a feeling of unease that never disappears. This is the supernatural in its purest form. As we move forward, the play teaches us something profound: forbidden knowledge is not just a concept, it is a transformative experience. Just like The King in Yellow, we are often drawn to what we should not explore. But what happens when we cross that line? Here, the boundaries between the real and the imaginary disintegrate, and we begin to enter Carcosa, the decaying city where all paths converge. Now, prepare for a journey through the most haunting setting in Hastur's universe. Carcosa, the legendary city, is a reflection of final decay. Its image is evoked as a place of lost beauty, where the yellow sky covers ruins that once shone with grandeur. It is not just a physical setting, but a symbol of human ambitions and their inevitable failure. Imagine an empire attempting to achieve perfection, only to fall under the weight of its own contradictions. This is exactly what Carcosa represents. In esotericism, the city serves as a reminder that even the greatest human creations are subject to decline. The city is mentioned in fragments and vague descriptions, which only increases its mystery. This mirrors the very nature of occultism, where the deepest secrets are never fully revealed. Carcosa is the manifestation of failed pacts and rituals gone wrong. Imagine someone trying to invoke an entity like Hastur and, instead of power, receiving eternal existence in a place where time doesn't pass, but everything decays. This is the essence of Carcosa, a prison for the soul. Its connection to Hastur is undeniable. Many believe that Carcosa is where those who succumb to the King in Yellow end up. It's as if the city is a reflection of their broken minds, an endless cycle of decay and loss of identity. This idea connects to the concept of supernatural entities that shape not only the physical world but also the realms of the mind. For those exploring Gnosticism, Carcosa is a perfect example of what happens when one seeks enlightenment without being prepared for its consequences. In many ways, Carcosa also symbolizes the struggle for perfection. Have you ever tried to achieve something so obsessively that you lost sight of what truly mattered? That's Carcosa, a city that sought to be perfect, but got lost in the process. In the real world, we see this in people who dedicate their lives to material success, only to feel empty in the end. The city is a mirror to these dilemmas, showing that the cost of seeking something beyond our reach can be too high. Carcosa is also a city of paradoxes. While its ruins suggest decay, there is a melancholic beauty that seduces those who gaze upon it. It's the type of place that attracts occult explorers, the curious who seek pacts and invocations in search of answers. However, this attraction is treacherous. Imagine someone dedicating themselves to rituals to invoke an entity and ending up trapped in an eternal cycle, unable to escape their own mind. This is the fate of those who dare enter Carcosa without understanding its dangers. The city is a silent warning: not everything that glitters is gold. Symbolically, Carcosa forces us to confront our mortality and the inevitability of decline. Its empty streets and ruined palaces echo what could have been. This image resonates in our everyday life when we realize that even our greatest accomplishments deteriorate over time. Think of ancient monuments, built with the promise of eternity, that today are just shadows of their former splendor. Carcosa is this same concept elevated to the supernatural, a reminder that even the grandest dreams can crumble. Carcosa is both a final destination and a starting point. It symbolizes the fall for many, but also the beginning of a cycle of questioning what it means to exist. The city offers no clear answers; instead, it challenges those who encounter it to reflect on their own choices. Just like Carcosa, the next topic takes us to explore something deeply unsettling: the loss of identity and reality, an inevitable fate for those who dare face the abyss of Hastur. Prepare to dive into the complexities of the human psyche. The loss of identity is one of the most terrifying consequences of diving into the mysteries of Hastur. When one confronts forbidden knowledge, such as the pacts and rituals connected to supernatural entities, the notion of the self begins to unravel. It's like the mind becomes a shattered mirror, reflecting disconnected pieces of who you once were. In the real world, we see something similar in people who face profound trauma. They no longer recognize themselves. For those who explore occultism, this effect is even more intense. The truth is, the deeper you go, the higher the risk of losing yourself. Characters who venture into the universe of Hastur often report this disintegration. Think of protagonists in stories like The King in Yellow, who begin as ordinary people but end up unrecognizable. This transformation is a brutal reminder that knowledge comes with a price. Imagine an esotericism student spending nights exploring forbidden books, searching for invocations to understand the supernatural, only to discover they've lost track of what is real. This is what happens when you play with forces beyond our comprehension. There is a direct connection between the loss of identity and the way we perceive reality. When someone comes into contact with a cosmic truth, like those related to Hastur, the foundations of their perception crumble. It's like trying to look directly at the sun: you cannot fully process what you see. In occultism, this is called a reality shock. A practical example would be how some people who meditate deeply report out-of-body experiences but never feel the same again. With Hastur, this effect is amplified to unbearable levels. The psychological impact of this kind of loss is devastating. Those who seek answers in pacts or rituals often underestimate the emotional toll of touching the supernatural. An example of this is the idea that, those who look into the abyss looks back at them. Imagine someone invoking a demon in search of power. Initially, control seems to be in their hands, but over time, control shifts, and the entity begins to mold the invoker's mind. This is the type of identity loss that defines Hastur's followers. On the other hand, this disintegration is not always negative. Some esoterics believe that losing one's identity is a form of transcendence, a way of reaching a state beyond the ego. However, this line of thought is risky, as not everyone can bear the journey. For those who come into contact with Carcosa or the King in Yellow, the process is less about enlightenment and more about collapse. What remains of a person when everything they know is destroyed? That is the question that defines Hastur's existential horror. In many stories and fictional accounts, the process of losing reality is gradual. The protagonist usually doesn't realize they are changing until it is too late. This is very similar to what happens in our everyday life when we ignore warning signs about our own choices. Those who delve into Gnosticism and occultism know that the first step into the unknown may seem exciting, but it is easy to lose your way. The loss of identity, in this context, is both a tragedy and a warning. While the disintegration of the self may seem like the end, it also marks the beginning of something new. This is the duality at the heart of Hastur's myths. Destruction and creation go hand in hand. When you lose everything, you also open yourself to new possibilities, though not all of them are desirable. And it's at this point that we enter one of the most intriguing aspects of this journey, the cycle of madness that traps those who dare explore the unknown. Join me as we unravel this eternal return. The cycle of madness that accompanies Hastur is like an endless spiral, where those who dare to touch the forbidden are trapped forever. Those who read the King in Yellow or invoke entities through esoteric rituals often find themselves in a state where reality and illusion blend together. It's like trying to escape a maze where the walls are constantly shifting. In real life, this is similar to addiction. The more you try to escape, the deeper you fall. Madness, in this case, is not a destination, but an endless journey. The cycle begins with curiosity. Someone encounters a fragment of the King in Yellow or learns about pacts and esoteric rituals. In the beginning, everything seems fascinating and even harmless, but soon the weight of the consequences emerges. The quest for power, answers, or enlightenment is a carefully constructed trap. Imagine a scientist who discovers a revolutionary experiment, but can't stop until the obsession consumes their mind. This is the portrait of the cycle of madness. Each step leads to a point of no return, where the supernatural demands more than you are willing to give. In stories like those of Hastur, madness is not only mental but spiritual. It transforms the very fabric of the soul. Many characters who enter the cycle lose the ability to distinguish reality from illusion. It's like a musician who hears divine melodies in their mind, only to realize that they are voices of entities manipulating them. This downward spiral reflects the dangers of occultism. Those who surrender to the pacts end up becoming puppets. Think of the psychological impact, living in a state where even your thoughts are no longer your own. Repetition is also a central theme of the cycle. Many who enter this labyrinth find themselves in situations that seem familiar, as if they're reliving the same events with slight variations. This echoes the idea that forbidden knowledge does not bring freedom, but imprisonment. In esotericism, it's common to believe that certain rituals, when performed repeatedly, create patterns in the spiritual realm, trapping the soul in endless loops. Imagine a writer who tries to finish the perfect play, but each time they write the ending, they discover they must start over. This is the cycle in action. For scholars of Gnosticism, the cycle of madness can also be seen as a cosmic test. The repetition of events and mental confusion represent the struggle between the pursuit of truth and the resistance of the forces that guard that knowledge. There's a parallel with the myth of Sisyphus, condemned to roll a stone eternally, only to see it fall again. Those who explore the supernatural face a similar challenge, attempting to reach something unattainable. Would you be willing to sacrifice your sanity for a glimpse of absolute truth? Despite its devastating nature, the cycle of madness also offers a lesson: the importance of accepting human limitations. Many who surrender to occultism do so because they believe they can control the unknown, but forget that the human mind was not made to bear such truths. Think of people who try to manipulate the financial market, believing they can predict everything, only to end up ruined. The cycle reminds us that sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is knowing when to stop. For Hastur's followers, however, this lesson often comes too late. The cycle of madness is the culmination of everything we've learned about Hastur. It blends the loss of identity, the corruption of reality, and the fascination with the unknown into a perfect trap. Like a circle, it has no beginning or end, trapping its victims in an eternal state of doubt and terror. As we conclude this journey through the universe of Hastur, the question remains, what would you do with this knowledge? Along the way, we've learned that the supernatural demands respect and caution, but also beckons us with an irresistible fascination. So, what will you do with all that you've just learned? The universe of Hastur is not just fiction, it reflects real dilemmas we face in our lives. Are you trapped in a cycle of searching for something unattainable? Are you sacrificing your sanity, identity, or reality in the name of something greater? It's time to reflect and decide. Now, I challenge you, share the keyword Carcosa in the comments to activate the manifestation of wisdom and prosperity in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and continue exploring the mysteries that surround us. The next step is up to you.